Hey, thank you so much for watching, listening. We're doing a series called Facing Your Giants. However, before we jump into that, make sure you subscribe. It's a great channel. Oh my goodness, great jokes, great content, great guests. Seriously, it's a really, really good channel. I encourage you a lot. And here's your joke, because again, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way into something really amazing. What do you call a cheese that doesn't belong to you? Cheese that doesn't, like Swiss cheese, Colby cheese, nacho cheese. You're like, that is so cheesy. It is. It totally is.
Well, it's a little cheesy, but I like it.
So let's get into something more meaty with our content on this series. So we're talking about facing giants. Last week we talked about Numbers 13:33, where the 12 spies from Moses went into the promised land and checked it out. 10 of them came back and said, the land is flowing with milk and honey, but there are giants in the land. We look like grasshoppers in their eyes, and they felt the same way. We felt the same way. Anyway, so today, part 2 of this series, we're going to look at the 2 spies that had a different report from the other 10. So 10 of the 12 spies said giants and grasshoppers. Well, 2 spies, their names were Joshua and Caleb. They acknowledged, they said the land is flowing with milk and honey, and there are giants in the land. However, these 2 spies, Joshua and Caleb, said, but God is with us. Why would we not go in and possess the land when God is with us?
And we can take back the land.
And these 2 spies, interesting to note, they're the ones from all of that generation that came out of slavery from Egypt. These 2 spies were the 2 people that survived wandering in the wilderness for 40 years to go in and possess the land. And these 2 spies, Joshua and Caleb, interesting to note that both of these men, they fought and defeated giants. So when you read about them in Joshua 11 verse 21, it says Joshua came at that time and cut off the Anakim. That was the spy, or that was the giants generation. That was who they were, their lineage, the Anakim. It says Joshua came and cut off the Anakim from the hill country at that time and from all of the areas in the promised land, and he utterly destroyed them with their cities. So Joshua fought against the giants and he defeated them.
No doubt to commend us on our great victory.
And then it says for Caleb in Joshua 14 verse 8, at the end of Joshua, it says, Caleb said this, nevertheless, my brethren who went with me made the heart of people melt with fear, but I followed God more fully. And God will give me the hill country which the Lord spoke to me. For on that day the Anakim were there with great fortified cities. Perhaps the Lord will be with me and drive them out. And this verse here, Joshua 14 verse 12, says that Caleb wanted to go into, when they went in to possess the promised land, he specifically asked for the land where the giants lived, the cities where the giants lived, because he wanted to go and possess and conquer that specific land, that area. And it's interesting that both Joshua and Caleb fought against and defeated giants. And part of that, it goes to the very core of their outlook. The 10 spies said, we're grasshoppers. Joshua and Caleb said, God is big. Last week we talked about remove the grasshopper, replace with Jesus. And when we replace with Jesus, when we replace with God, then we go into and we face and we confront giants. Last week I asked you, what are some of the giants that are in your life? You're like, I don't have any physical giants, but you have things that are overwhelming to you, intimidating to you, overpowering to you, like you just can't navigate. It makes you freaked out. Could be a past defeat. It could be, some kind of schooling situation. Could be, you're intimidated by trying to figure out finances, or you might think, well, I had failure. So all these things, but all of us have giants in our life. They can be fear. They can be a person. They can be a situation, giants. But Joshua and Caleb, they fought giants and they overcame them. So my point to you with this particular episode is, I want you to consider that Joshua and Caleb, I would propose to you, encouraged each other in fighting giants. There were 2 of them. out of 12 that said God can. And so it's very important for you, when you're facing giants, it's important for you to encourage other people who are facing giants and let them encourage you facing your giants. Think about who could be Joshua for you? Who could you be Caleb for? And together, and you encourage and you cheer for that person when they're facing a giant. Good job, way to go. And you let them encourage and cheer for you when you're facing your giants. And that boosts you up, because God can encourage and minister and help us through people. So be encouraged that you can be a person in somebody else's life that can help them to slay the giants that they face. And God can use people in your life to encourage you to face and slay the giants that are in front of you.
Now go out there and slay.
So who's your Joshua? Who's your Caleb? And who could you be Joshua to? Who could you be Caleb to? Because again, if God is for us, who can be against us? And greater is he who lives in us than he who is in the world. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And I want you to answer that question. Who could you encourage for slaying their giant? Put that in the comments right now. Who could you encourage? It could be your mother, your brother, a friend, a coworker, a classmate. Who could you encourage to slay, to kill, to face their giant? Thank you for subscribing. Hit the notification bell right there. Keep you posted with new content. And we're going to continue our series next week on facing giants.